Awesome. Okay, so because our time is really limited, I have a schedule around
Mm-hmm.
how we just like a structure, I mean, around how we would take this. And so I have a couple of questions that I'd like to ask you. Of course, you ask your own questions. But I think we should just start with a bit of an introduction. You can tell me about you, what
Mm-hmm.
you were up to in the past, what you're up to now, what you're hoping to achieve, let's say in the new year coming up. So stuff like that.
Okay. Okay, so should I just go now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my name is Shina. I am in my final year as a medical student. So I'm studying medicine. So I should be
Hmm.
done by March next year. I should have finished in 2020, but because of like Nigerian ASU and all of it,
Yep.
yeah, so next year hopefully I'll be done. So I started product design early this year, January. That's when I actually took it serious. And then since then I did the UX course, the Google UX course, because like everybody said like it's a good introduction. And then I took some Udemy courses, YouTube videos, and I created like case studies. I just wanted to use this year to like learn. So I didn't really put pressure on myself to maybe try and get a job or try and get an internship. It was more like a learning. So I said, okay, this year I'll just learn as much as I can. So that's what I've done so far.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Okay. So going forward, what do you want to achieve?
Um, that I'm not entirely sure. I'm looking at the way of bridging the two together, UX and medicine. I know there's health tech. So I've not really like explored that, but something that I might be open to in the future.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. So how do you think I can help you?
Okay. So like I said, I've been working on some case studies, and so for the most part, I was doing it on my own, like based on what I've learned. So I wasn't really getting like people's opinion about what should be done, what shouldn't be done. So now that I am done with some of them, I feel like I should have maybe shown a couple of like shown it to a few people to know what to do. So if you could help me look at it, I think that would be very helpful. Things that you notice that might need like adjustment or things that any feedback would be appreciated.
Okay, okay. So are you looking forward to getting a job in the new year? Maybe a product design job. Is that something you're anticipating?
Yes, yes. If so, the plan was after school, like I'll just jump into a role. That was like the plan. So when I'm done with school, I'll just be able to like open to just jump into a role. So that I'm open to that.
Mm, okay. And what made you, I'm wondering, you're a medical student. What made you
Yeah.
get into product design? I'm sure you're expecting a question, so.
Yeah, it's fine. It's actually fine. So the thing is, I do photography. So I started photography like by 200 level. So I do photography when I have the time to. And then I heard about UX design. So it's like empathy and then visuals. So it's like bridging the two together. So it just sort of make sense to me to just explore and see if I fancied it. And yeah,
Would you say
one
you're
year
a
now.
creative? Oh, sorry. Yeah, okay. So I was
Yeah,
asking, would you say you're a creative person?
I like to believe so. I think so. I think so.
Okay, why do you say so?
Because I like exploring. I like if I see an idea, I like to see how I can make it better and make it. Yeah, well, I don't know. I just think I'm a creative person.
Okay. Um, all right. So where would you say you are? I mean, would you say you're a junior or a mid or senior designer?
Uh, relative. Well, I would say junior mid. I don't want to claim mid yet, but I'll say junior mid,
Hmm.
junior mid-ish.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's see. You have your CV here and your portfolio.
For my portfolio, I host it on Behance.
Mhm.
I'm trying to work on my website, but I'm not done with it yet. For
Okay.
CV, I don't really have because I'm not looking to apply. Like I'm not like actively making plans to apply for a job, so I've not really worked on my CV like that. So
Okay. Okay. So
yeah,
can I see your Behance then?
sure.
Please send your link to
I'm
the chat.
chat. Yeah, yeah, I just did that.
Okay. Mm, okay. All right. I see a number of stuff here. Which
Yeah.
one would you recommend I look at first? If I had to look
Uh,
at one,
uh, no, okay, the Ecosivos. The Ecosivos.
eco-savers. Okay. An eco-friendly food ordering application. Okay, what is eco-saver? It's a mobile food ordering application that provides tasty meals from sustainable restaurants, offering high quality services and an eco-friendly approach to both the packing and delivery, project duration, tools used to roll. The problem in recent years has been raising among the food providers. Okay. Project goals, UX design process, user research, key insights. Okay, there's a persona, competitive analysis, user flow, your fidelity, brand identity. Okay, so I've glanced through.
Yeah,
Okay, so first thing is so I think you've not really made enough emphasis on the research part of this project. I like the
yeah.
actually like the project, but even under the problem statement section, you've not really explained to us. So
Mm,
yeah, you use a lot of buzzwords like sustainable, detrimental, environment, blah blah blah, and all of that. But you've not really explained the problem. It would have been good for something like this, even use maybe pictures of what the packaging currently looks like. What problem are you trying to
mm,
solve exactly? I mean, because whatever problems you list here, at the end of your case study, we should see that the solution has been found. Either you actually solve the problem or you're on your way to solving it. So from this problem, it's not very clear exactly which part of the problem you want to solve. Are you solving the packaging problem, or are you solving the transportation problem? Are you solving checkout problem? Which of them? Also, from your project goals, I think what I would have been looking for was research goals rather than general project goals. So research goals under your user research part, you put user interview, but you didn't tell us what you were
mm,
trying to achieve with that interview, right? There should be like, what's the end game? Why do you want to carry out an interview in the first place? All of that should be documented. I usually call this diagram when I see it in people's portfolio. This diagram people draw of UX design process, and you see prototype, test, empathize, define. I call it fluff. It's just,
mm.
I think it's just one of those things people use to fill up their portfolio. So get rid of it.
Yeah.
Um, whether you use this method or it's another one, maybe one of the other types, or whether it's design thinking type or whatever, it's how else will you do the project if not to empathize and then define and then ideate, prototype, test. It's just It's just waste of space. So get rid of it. What you need to focus on in your case study, any case study, is to run the reader through your thought process from the beginning to the end. Beginning being the discovery phase. Okay, so was it a personal problem? What was the motivation? Stuff like that. What's the next thing? Okay, you need to carry out a research. How many people did you intend to talk to? Okay, I see you wrote 10 participants. By the way, 10 participants is way too much for an interview. 5 is a perfect number. Between 3 to 5 people, actually. 10 is way above. You can do your research on that as well. But 3 to 5 is the sweet spot, because once you've spoken to 3 people, then 4 people, you already see a pattern. 10 people, you're wasting research time. So that's specific to an interview,
Yeah.
not for surveys. Surveys, you need more number. The more the number, the better. But for qualitative research, such as interview, small. So before on that part, you need to, it's better to maybe use bullet points, for instance, to say, oh, 10 participants. Where were you going to find them? This 10 participants. What kind of participant are they? Are they people that all that stuff often? Or you need to be clear on your research part needs to be fleshed out. That's just my point. Then on that key insight, I know that's supposed to be like your research synthesis, for instance. So I noticed the second point about checkout, inability to check out meals from different restaurants during the checkout process. Well, that's actually an interesting pinpoint. Let's see, consider it important that the products they buy are in recyclable packaging. So how exactly are you going to solve that problem? So identified long waiting time and inability to track their orders as a major frustration for them. That's a good one. But remember what to title your project. You say eco-friendly food ordering application. So if you're sticking with that eco-friendly approach, then you need to think about how you want to solve the problem in an eco-friendly way. So you've already boxed yourself by saying eco-friendly, right? Which is not a bad thing, to be honest. It's not a bad thing. But all of this needs to be clearly documented. For instance, let me glance through your wireframe. So I'm trying to see any sign of anything eco-friendly there. See the brand identity part, but remember that this is a UX design process, UX design project. I mean, so brand identity is good to highlight that, but that's not the main, like Nigerian would say, cocoa. That's not the, well, I don't know how to explain that in English, but that's not the stuff. So according to your title, let's see. So, well, I just think eco-friendly is a nice, like, yeah, it's not like everybody else's project, but saying eco-friendly, you would have to flesh this out very well. That's just my own point. Like, you need to be very clear on how you're solving this problem. Solving the problem doesn't necessarily need to be a digital solution, right? It doesn't need to be but you need to implement the process, Okay, so that is that one. Please go on.
Oh no, I was going to say the eco one I did it. I think that was the first case study I did. The Behance is like my most recent one. So I said, okay, let me just redesign. Let me redesign something else. Like redesign an existing product. So I just said, okay, if you could help me run through.
Okay, so to be honest, I do not have the time. I won't be able to go through a second one, but glancing through it, it seems a bit more detailed and all of that. So, but I won't be able to go through that one right now. However, what I've been trying to do is some type of diagnostics, like a doctor, like you. So I've been trying to understand your past and your present, and if it's something that I can, well, if it's something I can help you with, to be
Yeah.
honest, because I know that I cannot help everyone.
Yeah.
So this is supposed to be one of several other sessions.
Yeah.
In January, I'm going to have a four sessions
Mm,
with a group of people, between 5 to 10 people, very small
yeah.
group,
Yeah.
and which is actually a tiny fraction of all the people that booked my calendar. But so this session is going to be more of a transformational coaching kind of thing,
Mm,
which
yeah.
basically means that I will be focusing on things like what platforms should you be on if you want to attract that job? What should your LinkedIn profile look like? How do you optimize it?
Yeah.
I used to say to people that tell me,
Yeah.
"Oh, there's not enough job out there. There's no UX design job." And I say, "No, there's no such thing." That's not been my own experience. Um, so
Mm-hmm.
because I always also tell people that like in an average of a week, I get about 2 to 3 new jobs delivered directly to my DM. And that's because of, I believe that's because it's not because I'm any special, but just because I've somehow been able to optimize my LinkedIn profile. So there'll also be that. Then there will
Mm,
be me helping to clean up or review your CV. You say you don't really have one right now, which is not bad, but you can still have a CV with these case studies that these projects that you've worked on. There's a way to still come up with a presentable CV. Um,
yeah.
Cover letter. Cover letter is something that a lot of people don't really put value to. But I used to explain cover letter like your voice in the room and like a pre-interview actually, because as you would be applying for that job, hundreds and maybe even thousands of other people are applying for it. So cover letter is kind of like what sets you apart in that way.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then depending on how proactive you are during the sessions, I would be assisting with mock interviews. So if you're someone that is already like applying for certain jobs, things like that,
Yeah.
mock interviews would be something else. Then I think specializations in UX design and your possible niche. So this one is an interesting one because I used to tell people that even if you be a generalist in
Yeah.
UX design, UX design is so huge. It's like so many specializations even within UX design that it's always a good thing to have one or two niches. So it's kind of like an
Mm,
anchor, something that grounds you, because when the going gets tough, which it will, that is what that's what you will be like, oh, I'm in this because let's say I love doing strategy parts. It's a strategy part of my job, but UX strategy or UX writing, or the part I enjoy most is research, or I enjoy testing designs, whatever it is, there needs to
yeah.
be like something. And for someone like you that is already into health, like you said, you're trying to find
Yeah.
a way to bridge the gap. I would say that's a beautiful gap to bridge, to be honest. Now there is a
Yeah.
field called health tech, and there are now many companies coming up that are even looking for UX. So they're just looking for good UX
And
designers. So I can imagine if you're now a product designer that has
yeah.
a health background, you obviously will have an edge
Mhm.
over such people. That's just the fact. So yeah, so those are things that this coaching session will be about.
Mm,
And it will not be a free session, it will be a paid session. It will cost £100. I don't know what that is right now in Naira. Naira
mm,
is maybe, I don't know,
mm,
90K. I think it's now 900 and I don't know, 900 and something or something. Yeah, so it's going to be £100. And what I would do is to I'll send you an email with a summary of all these discussions and next steps if you'd like to.
all right.
But there was a question I forgot to ask you
Okay.
earlier, which
Yeah.
is what is your salary expectation for your next job or for your first job?
Uh, $2,000. That was what like baseline was, like $2,000.
Oh, so you already had the amounts in mind.
Yeah.
I am happy to hear that. Awesome. Awesome. So $2,000, and to be honest, it's not
Yeah.
an impossible amount. I can't even lie to you. And I think you're the first person that immediately I asked answered me in the same breath with an amount without first laughing or thinking of like whatever. So that is really good. Um but truth is, between where you are right now and where $2,000 can comfortably, you can say I'm going to be earning $2,000, or I'm earning $2,000. There's some work to it. Not impossible,
Yeah.
not impossible,
Mm,
not back-breaking work, but then work.
yeah.
Which I think you're
Yeah.
used to already as a medical student. For the life of me, I'm proud of you guys. That is not my calling. I digress. Um, yeah, so looking at your portfolio, I one of the major criteria for anybody that's going to be joining that session, my sessions in
Yeah.
January, would be for them to have at least two high quality projects in their portfolio.
So
And some other things which I was saying, for you to also have a CV, things like that, because that session will not be one where I would be teaching anyone the basics of product design. Also, yeah, you need to already understand the basics, which I think you do since
yeah.
January. I believe you do now. I'll also not
Yeah.
be helping anyone to say design their CV or help you do this, help you do that. No, I'll be assisting you. I'll be doing it with you, not for. So
Yeah.
those are some of the things. So like I said, I'll send you the email. Time is almost up, but do you have any questions?
Um, do I have any questions? How has it been for you? Like the whole process, like being a UX designer, how's it been? How did you
Being a
start?
UX designer. Okay, so I got into tech first
Okay.
about 10 years ago. I started as a
Oh,
developer. I was an engineer. I was writing backend
oh,
codes and front-end codes before I got into product design. So I've been in product design, let's say 6 to 7 years now. And it's been good, really. It's been quite rewarding, I have to be honest with you. Um,
yeah,
so I have had the privilege of working in different kind of industries. I've worked in logistics, I've worked in background check, I've even worked in health. I think one or two
yeah.
projects. I've worked in fintech. That's more
Mm,
recently. I've worked in cryptocurrency. That's also kind of more recently. I've worked in what else I've worked in the banking sector. That's traditional bank. So I've had the privilege of working in different kind of industries, but um, well, it's been a little bit difficult from the angle of advocating for design. So
mm,
that's the biggest challenge I had, especially working within the Nigerian industry. Actually, not even true. Let me rephrase that.
yeah,
Generally, in a lot of companies, even across the world, advocating for the user's point of view is going to be a big part of your job until for the unforeseeable future, actually.
yeah.
Yeah. Though there are certain companies that are already like bigger, more structured companies, they might already understand the value of all these things. So that advocacy is something that you might find yourself doing quite a bit
Wow.
in
Yeah.
meetings. You might find yourself having to defend your designs. So I would say that good communication skills, as much as your design skills are important, you need to be able to communicate the your
I,
decisions, right? You have to communicate and you will defend it sometimes, but also with it's kind of like a bit of a finesse. You need to be able to, yes, be able to defend it, but also be able to know when to step back, because again, it's not the design is not about you. You're designing for certain people. So you don't take criticism personal. There's a lot of things that I've had to learn over time. I guess it just comes with experience, but I would say it's been good. It's also been financially rewarding, because that's also really important. So that's why I said your $2,000 it's not unachievable. It's actually achievable. Maybe not the first job.
Maybe not.
I
Yeah.
have to be honest with you. It may not be the first job. You might have to take up a job that maybe pays $1,000 or even less,
Yeah.
right? You might not stay up to a year at the job. You might just stay 6 months, right? Before you
Yeah.
get the next one. But there's usually it's if you plan it well, if you're really good at what you're doing, again, not just in design, but in other parts of it,
Yeah.
especially communication, people skills and stuff like that, then that was $2,000. That's change. Yeah, so that's doable. Any other questions?
No, no, not at the
Okay, awesome,
moment.
awesome. So should I expect to see you in January?
I hope so. I hope so.
I know it's a
I
yes or
hope.
no question. It doesn't have to be January. I just want to know.
Okay. Okay. I'll say yes. I'll say yes.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so okay, I don't think I mentioned this. So in the email I will send, it will include a deadline for payment, and it's going to be sometime around Christmas. And the reason is because I deliberately put that time before Christmas because, like I said earlier, there are certain things
Hmm.
people must have before you join the session. So you need to have like a week to 2 weeks before we start the session for you to clean up your portfolio if it needs to be cleaned up. If you want to work on one extra case study, your CV, certain videos, maybe a part of UX design. Maybe you're someone that wants to take one small course or watch a couple of videos on maybe say animation or transitions or something. So you need that period of time because that would not be the focus of our sessions. Yeah, maybe here and there we might touch on it a few minutes, but that's not the focus. We're going to be focusing more on things that recruiters want to see. The how
Yeah.
do you ace an interview, blah, 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 things like that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's it. Thank
Okay.
you very much for being early
Thank
to my session. I'm
you
beginning
too.
to realize that is not very common.
Oh, yeah.
uh, Enjoy your weekend and expect my email. I should send it to you today, though. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
You
Yeah.
too. Bye bye.